Oh, good evening, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine, a bit tired, but I am fine. My gym changed my pool hours instead of being open till 9:30. All of a sudden, yesterday we go, and I guess they changed the Monday, and they're closed at 8. I'm like, what the fuck? Thanks for the warning. Fortunately, I got my workout in. I was just sitting in the hot tub for a few minutes. I probably had another 5-10 minutes to go. And they close at 8. So I was like, what the fuck? So anyway, so I just went to my local pool here where I live. They're open to 8 also. I don't know. It's nice out till 10. I don't understand these pools closing at 8. Supposedly because there's outdoor pools at my club and I go to the indoor one, there's not enough lifeguards. Even though there was 6 lifeguards sitting there yesterday at 8 o'clock who I'm sure could have stayed till 9 or 8:30. Like, what's the rush? It's nice and sunny out. I never understand when they close Labor Day. Like, it's still warm the whole month of September. Why the fuck are you closing? Why do you have a pool in the first place? And then you close at Labor Day. I never understood that. Anyway, I was able to update my football. So now I have all the teams ranked based on last year's. And I still got to get my magazine, which maybe I'll run out after the show today. And there's a Barnes and Noble or Borders a couple miles away. I can, if I want to get out, it's a nice night out. So I got my son and did my workout, did my back, a couple of laps around the pool. I've been running. So it's nice to actually not have pain while you walk or sit or sleep. A little twinge, but it really hasn't stopped me from walking. So I need to go back to Barcelona and enjoy it while I can walk. All right, so let's start with gold, and we can do some baseball. Well, baseball, half of it. Today's Wednesday, and the Tigers are on at 1 o'clock. It's like, who the fuck's going to a ball game at 1 o'clock? And who the fuck's going to a ball game that is like an hour and a half long? It's so stupid. It's like, let's make movies 30 minutes so we can get done with them. Well, who's going to go to a 30-minute movie? And it's the same thing with the baseball. They rush and rush and rush so they can add more commercials. And let's have the clock and this and that, which is just bullshit. That's basketball, not baseball. And I think it's ridiculous. So they're like, the games are over in an hour and a half. But it's not Sandy Koufax pitching and Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan. It's a bunch of bums pitching. So I don't know. I'd have a hard time paying full price. I don't know what full price is. I won't go to a baseball, especially the Tigers. They're not even a major league team. Me and my buddy were talking about that yesterday. He texted me. He says they got 7 players that are hitting less than 200. I go, it's not even, well, I go, that's, he said, have you ever heard of a major league team with 7 players under 200? And I says, well, yeah, but they're not a major league team. They're a minor league team. When you have minor league talent, you're not a major league team. So that's my argument, is they're not major leagues. How the management can't find 300 hitters is beyond me when they're at college, UCLA, USC, Arizona. I mean, Miami. Come on, it's not hard to find people that can hit in college. They can hit in the pros. A lot of good pitching in college. A lot of better pitching in college than these high school kids that get drafted. That's just ridiculous. But that's what I see. And then they're all like, the Tigers are all going for walks. Instead of saying we're going for walks, it's be patient. Be patient at the plate. Take 10 pitches. Follow them off and take pitches. In other words, but don't hit, because you can't hit. You hit less than 200. So we need you to walk so we don't have to face all these pitches. And the problem is, okay, and they'll get to the second pitcher, but They can't hit the second pitcher or the third pitcher anyway. They can't hit any major league pitching, but the pitching's so bad because every team needs 12, 13 pitchers. And then they still, the Tigers have half their pitchers are hurt. Well, wait, you're pitching every fifth day and only 100 pitches. How the fuck are these pitchers getting hurt? So it's beyond stupid. But anyway, we'll do a little bit of baseball. So real quickly, let's talk about our favorite subject, gold. So silver's down to 22.68. I'm going to run tomorrow and go buy another 30, 40 ounces. That to me is a buying opportunity. I'm not asking why it's down. I know it's COMEX, it's JP Morgan. They're trying to clean out whatever derivatives they have left that are low. They're trying to wash them out. In other words, settle them. And that's the best they can do. Gold tried to do that and went down to 1923. Oh, look, at 10 o'clock, it spiked down every day like that. And then it's 1930. It's down $4. So 19. So when you get rid of the price fixing, it was a $4 day. So now when I go to the store, cleverly he opens at 10. I get there. If I want to buy gold, I'll get there 10:05, 10:10. And just as we're spiking down, and he's like every minute pricing the gold out instead of, leaving it alone. Oh, it's down to 1923. I can save, $10 an ounce if I just get there at 10:05. But then once I get there at 2 o'clock, it's spiked back up. So again, it's still derivative city and JP Morgan, and they're pulling all the gold and silver out of it. I'm not really sure how it works specifically. Once they don't have any gold and silver, does it collapse, or what's going to make it collapse? And it's what's frustrated is we know it's collapsed, right? We know the price is no good. You can't get silver at 22.69. You can't get gold at 19.33. It's impossible. Now they have these premiums, which I have no idea what the premiums are. It's not market. They're marking it up, but it's not the real. None of this is the real price, because the real price must be a physical price. So I'm begging to understand what the fuck is how to build this. How do we get to physical? And I think the BRICS will do it, and they're buying it, and all these countries are in trouble with their currency. So I think it's just when they run out of supply of gold and silver, they can't do it anymore. Then it becomes, we're going to trade in physical. And once they do that, then we see 10, 20,000 an ounce for gold. So we know it's going to be repriced or revalued. We hope there's a market. I love these YouTuber guys or the news. Well, why is gold not going up? We know the answer. It's the fake COMEX price fixing. We how many times do we need to say COMEX price fixing? And yet, this Andrew Sheckman, who quotes this Reichert guy, I just don't know why. It's not physical. It's still derivative. What is wrong with these people? Are they the dumbest fucking idiots in the world? We know that's the problem. This is why I listen to Egon and Alligator and Andrew Maguire, because they don't fuck around. They go, well, it's derivatives, and there's two markets. There's paper and physical. We're waiting for physical. It's very simple. Now, what's the trigger to get away from the physical, from the paper to the physical? When did we stop paying attention to COMEX? That's the real question. And in my mind, who the fuck needs it? I mean, just let it go. If we don't pay any attention to it, it goes away. That's all it is. I don't understand that. If somebody is tempting to bother me, like the communist at the club or this other guy who's into oil. I ignore them. I don't give them the pedestal. So if they say hi, I don't even go there. It's like, no, you're not getting a hi out of me. I have no respect for you because you have no respect for me. You're too stupid to talk to, and there's nothing I'm going to gain from our conversation. So I'm not going to have it. And I'm not going to recognize you or give you that acknowledgement. So why are we recognizing and giving the acknowledgement to Comex? Why are we even looking at silver at 22.70 when we all know it's 2,000 an ounce? Why are we even wasting time? The amount of supply and demand in physical world is much greater than this. Why are we still, and why does every country use Comex? That's the kicker I don't understand. If I'm China, this is the price. It's 2,000 an ounce for silver. That's it. And then goodbye, Comex. But I don't get why they're not doing it. They certainly can. So we can get back to that later. Let's go to baseball. And a lot of these games have already, I mean, I don't understand why it's Wednesday, I think, right? June 20. It is Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, the June 21st. So we have, let's see, 6:40, so a half hour, the Braves and the Phillies. I can't use scores and odds, can I? I got to use the other one. Scores and odds doesn't give me an easy way to look at the ERAs. And that's really the key to pitching, right? All right, Atlanta, Philly, 6:40. Sauver for Atlanta, 1-0 with a 2.03 ERA, good ERA, but how much has he pitched against Aaron Nola from the Yankees? 6-5, 4.66. Let's see how much Sawyer has pitched, I guess. He's pitched 4 games, 2 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, and then he's pitched 3 games. He's given up 0 runs, 3 runs. 0 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs. So his ERA, I don't know how it's 2.03. Should be a lot higher than that. He gave up 5 runs in 10 innings, so his ERA should be like 5. Because the first one, he only pitched 2 innings, so that ERA is incorrect. So I like the game over. Sawyer's not a 2.0 pitcher. He's more of a 5.0. And Nola's 4.66. I like over 9. Seattle and the Yankees. Castillo for Seattle, 4-5 with a 2.73. Good ERA against Johnny, spelled Jhony instead of Johny. Brito, 3-3 with a 5.58. I like Seattle here, the 2.73 against the 5.58 all day. Oakland and Cleveland. Blackburn, 0-0 with a 3.48 against Gavin Williams, 0-0 with a 0. Let's see what's going on with Gavin. No stats available. So Gavin's a minor league pitcher going against Blackburn. It's Oakland. I like the over here, over 8. Oakland, although Oakland really can't hit. Cleveland's okay. See, how is Cleveland a 185 favorite with a pitcher that's never pitched before? It's amazing. He'll probably go 3 innings and then bullpen. So, yeah, let's go over in this one. Boston Mini, we got Sonny Gray. I like him. 4-1 with a 2.37 against Whitlock for Boston. 4-2 with the 4.5. We're going to go with Minnesota and Sonny Gray. I liked him better on Oakland. Texas and Chicago White Sox. We got Perez for Texas, 6-3 with the 4.54 against Kopecky, 3-5 with a 3.92. Texas scores a bunch. Kopecky, 3. Let's go Texas, 6-3 with a 4.54. Yeah, they had a score on the White Sox. And the Battle of LA and California. For the Dodgers, Grove, 0-2 with an 8.10. Oh, my God. Shohei Ohtani, I still don't understand why he pitches and plays outfield. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. 6-2 with the 3.29. You don't understand. you need your rest when you pitch. It's very rough to pitch. And to pitch, what does he go today? 8 innings, 100 pitches, 120. And then to go play outfield the next day, your arm's shot, your body shot is really stupid. So does he beat the Dodgers? Let's go over 8.5 here. Zertani 6-2 with a 3.29. Grove though is 0-2 with an 8. I can take California, but the Dodgers tend to score a lot of runs. So let's go over here. And San Diego and the 49ers playing. We got Hugh Darvish, 5-5 with a 4.74 against Ryan Walker, 2-0 with a 1.65. Let's take the 49ers here. 2-0 with a 1.65. Yeah, they're the better team. Final games, Toronto 6, Miami 3, Gaussman against Alcantara. Alcantara was good last year. He sucks now. He's 2-6 with a 5.08 ERA. So betting against him. Gaussman's a good one. So Toronto won 6-3. Tampa, Ty Bradley, 5-3 with a 3.86 against Tyler Wells, 6-3 with a 3.23. Tampa won 7-2. I'm just trying to fill in. You can see the ERAs, what type of game you're supposed to get. Colorado, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's won like 10 in a row now. Ian Gabolt, 8-1 with a 3.31. Good pitcher. Daniel Bard, 3-1 with a 1.52. I would have bet this game under. I don't know what the over-under was, but it was 5-3 Cincinnati. The Cubbies and the Steelers. Kyle Hendricks, 3-2 with a 2.6 ERA for the Cubbies. Rich Hill, 6-7, 4.3. So the better ERA. He does get the win. It doesn't stay under. It does go to 11, which I was a little surprised, but this is where you bet the 2.6 ERA against the 4.34 ERA. Detroit and Kansas City. Matthew Boyd, 5-5 with the 5.37 ERA against Brady Singer, 4-7 with the 6.34 over, and it's 9-4. The Tigers win, 13 runs. So the Tigers very consistent. They scored like 10 runs 2 days ago. Yesterday they got shut out by a nobody. And then today they win 9-4, beating a 6 ERA pitcher with their own 5 ERA. Then they'll say how good Boyd is. Yeah, with that 5.37 ERA, he's a superstar. So they do go over. So this is why they're so bad. They're so inconsistent. They lose 1-0, and then they win 9-4. Now, this is why you bet the pitcher. The pitcher shuts them out. Another pitcher, they get 9 runs. This is why I yell when they take the starter out for the bullpen. When you got the starter going and you can't hit them, you don't take them out because they can't hit them. That's the whole point of it. Why would you take out your starter when they can't hit? And here they get 9 runs on these guys, Brady Singer. So it shows you pitcher A shuts them out. Pitcher B, they can hit. So it's all the pitchers, the variable that you look into. Arizona 5-1 over Milwaukee. Arizona's playing well. 9-2 with a 2.84 ERA. Very good. Pugero for Milwaukee, 1-1 with a 3.04. So, and here's Magoo, the Arizona bullpen, 2.54 ERA, which isn't great for the bullpen, but the 2.84 starter and 5-1. So there you go, right? They face Gallen, 2.84 ERA. They get 1 run on them. Tomorrow they might face the 5th pitcher with a 6 ERA, and they might score 15 runs. And that's the secret, right? They can't hit the pitcher. Houston against Bobby Bo's Mets. Phil Maton, 1-2 with a 1.46 ERA, gets the W for Houston. Dominic Leone, 1-3 with a 5.49 for the Metis. Where's Verlander and Scherzer? I think Verlander lost a close one the other day. Ryan Presley gets his 14th save for Houston with a 3.16 ERA. Well, it isn't good for a bullpen guy, but maybe the other one came in and then he got it. But Anyway, 10-8, which is surprising. Phil Maton is a 1.46 ERA. The Mets hit him for 8. And then Leon is 1-3 at 5.49. So you knew Houston would score a lot. So the bet here is Houston with the 1.46 against the 5.49. I don't know. I would have thought Houston scored on the bad ERA pitcher. And last but not least, the Cardinals and the Redskins. Trevor Williams for Washington, 4-4 with a 4-4. Miles McCullough, 4-5 with a 4.23 for St. Louis. I would have thought there'd be more runs. You had a 4.14 and a 4.23. Nobody got 4 runs. Williams shuts him out with his 4.14 ERA. McCullough gives up 3. Now, yes, it's an average. And again, so we know how Williams, the Washington pitcher, handled St. Louis. Does he handle Texas this way? Does he handle the Dodgers this way? Does he handle Pittsburgh this way? So really, that's when you supersize it and microanalyze it. You go, how does Trevor Williams do against other teams? And so you have Trevor Williams versus Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati versus Oakland, bam, 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 bam. And then you go, well, I know against St. Louis, he shuts them out. They can't hit him. So that's what you're looking for. That's really the in-depth analysis. And that's what I do in football. God, I mean, it would be so hard to do this in baseball where you would have to basically just chart Trevor Williams against, and you have all the teams. And then you'd have to do it with every pitcher against all these teams. Good luck there. But that's how you would. But again, it's every day, and then you get the new pitchers and stuff. But that's how I would do it if I wanted to. Otherwise, I just bet Verlander, McCullough, Scherzer, and bet against the Tigers. And that's all I need to do. So that'd be baseball. Nothing, no locks, but a couple of decent plays. All right. So I was watching this idiot.
Let you go. You have a weekly special.
So I was watching this idiot here, Andy Scheckman, but there isn't a lot on. But I want to point out how stupid he is. So let's get into how stupid Andy Scheckman is.
That doesn't meet LBMA standards. In other words, they have bars that don't meet the purity. It's as if they're all preparing for some event by repatriating, by accumulating, by exchanging out bars that don't meet LBMA standards. It's as if something is coming, and he talks about how this plays right into the hands of the BRICS, because you have, with China and Russia, you have 2 of the largest gold producers in the world, ranked 6th and 7th respectively. With Saudi Arabia and Russia alone, he talks about you have 2 of the 3 largest energy producers in the world. He talks about with Russia, China, Brazil, and India, all members, you have 4 of the 7 largest countries in the world measured by land mass, 50% of the world's wheat and rice production, 50% of all the gold.
So he's just, it's all meaningless. It's not how many people, it's how much money do you have, right? So all you hear is, well, the BRICS nations have all these people. But China's broke, India's broke. All these people don't have any fucking money. The U.S., the U.K., Western Europe has all the money. Well, at least they did. And it's all going away because they keep inflating it. So again, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. What he says is always, well, the demand for gold and silver for physical is high. Yeah, we know you've told us that 150 times. We get people are buying physical gold. We don't know when that trigger is going to, again, why do we switch? But anyway, just more evidence that he's really clueless, but he talks like he knows. And this is what I want to warn you about. Because somebody talks a good game, Peter Schiff talks a good game. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So let's
pay with the Russian ruble to settle trade with Russia and pay with Chinese yuan for business with China. And so similarly, it will do the same thing with India, paying for rupee. So they've applied to BRICS. So they're going to trade with India, with China, and with Russia in their currencies until there is a common currency. And so, when you see all of these things starting to happen, it to me is a whole lot more significant and meaningful than just talking about these countries joining together in an ideological endeavor. This is actually happening, and it's real. And put it all together, it starts to become a little bit concerning. As far as what's going on in the metals market, look, I haven't read why the price of silver got clobbered today, and whatever it is, it doesn't make sense, because if we look at what happened last week when it got clobbered, 25,890,000 ounces, or 5,178 COMEX contracts were dumped in 15 minutes. So no one in their right mind who is trying to maximize a return on any asset being sold would dump that kind of quantity at the open. It's done for effect. It's a drive-by shooting. It's done to demoralize. But in reality, you take a step back and say, what kind of idiot would ever do that? And the answer is no one who was trying to maximize a return. It is someone who is trying to do this for effect. And that's why when you see all of these things happen, when you see the largest accumulation of gold by the central banks ever over the last 18 months, when you see countries continuing to move away from the West, including our allies, and using gold and silver as a way to de-dollarize, then the price means nothing. And I know it's hard to hear that. It's almost hard to say it, but it's true, because the price action is being betrayed by the massive drawdowns that we continue to see on COMEX and on the LBMA. And I think it's worth noting. It really is worth noting that if we talk about just the amount of deliveries that we've seen this year, we've seen almost 13,000 silver contracts stand for delivery. That's this year. That's 65 million ounces that have stood for delivery. That's over 2,000 tons. When you talk about gold, over 240 tons have been delivered out of COMEX since January 1st. And last week when I was laying around doing a little reading on the Med, I read that 55 tons were delivered last week in the 7 trading days up to when I was reading this on Tuesday or Wednesday. So you can see that deliveries is a rising tendency. We are seeing more and more and more deliveries, quietly though. Massive deliveries off the LBMA. The price and the price action is meaningless when you see big deliveries across the globe and a continuing drive.
Okay, so what this idiot still doesn't understand is it's paper. It's designed to keep the price down. It is not free market supply and demand, which is what I've been saying. So in other words, if this is Canadian credits, the market says we'll pay 80. That's what a market is. I put it out to sell. So I'm Canadian Club. Okay, what will the market pay me for this bottle? And I know what my costs are. My costs are $40 for the bottle. So I'm going to try $60 because I see some other whiskey that's at. And if the market buys it for the 60 or the 80 or whatever I'm selling it for, that's what the market says. We'll buy it for $80 and I will make it and keep selling it for $80 because I make profit if I sell it at 80 and the market will buy it at 80. That's what a market is. And the market has to be a free market and it has to be a physical market. What COMEX is a paper market. It's not a real market. It's not a physical market. It's a fantasy land. So how can this idiot Scheckman not understand that it's the price is COMEX price fixed by JP Morgan, the biggest criminal on earth, next to whatchamacallit, who's that idiot? George and Soros. They're keeping the price down for two reasons. Themselves, not quite sure how they make money, but one half is selling to the other half who's buying. Neither of them get any gold or silver. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. How it's even illegal. How it's even legal is beyond me. It shouldn't be legal. How do you sell something that you don't own? How do you sell a contract, a derivative? But then we're not looking at physical. How can there not be a physical market? This is mind blowing. Strictly non-economics. This is not real world where you have a derivative on a product that you don't sell and nobody buys and the price drops because it's fucking insane. This is incredible. And where's the SEC and the government? They're all paid off. So nobody's going, this is fucking nuts, except for us. Scheckman doesn't get it. How can people buy? So demand's very high. Why isn't price going up? This is what he's saying in English. The demand's going. People are taking gold and silver and they're buying it, right? Off of COMEX, off of London. They're buying it. The demand's huge. But the price should be going up, but the demand is going down. Why is silver $22 now when the demand's through the roof? Why is gold not 10,000 an ounce? Because it's price fixed. It's not hard to understand if you understand price fixing, which is what's good about me with my background in football, as well as statistics and economics. I get price fixing, right? They're trying to keep the price down. Therefore, no matter what the supply and demand does, the price isn't following because they don't want it to follow. The second thing is his buddies, the Chinese and the Russians, want to keep buying, so they keep the price down for them. The U.S. and Canada and Western Europe's too stupid to buy cheap gold and silver. I mean, I run as much as I can. I just bought 2 ounces of gold. I told you last week. I paid $2,000 a piece. I got for $4,000. I got 2 ounces of gold. That's 25, 30,000 an ounce. What a bargain! Am I the only one who sees this, or what? I don't care if I'm the only one who sees it. I see it. It's very cheap. It's like a football bet. When I see a bad line, when I see a UCLA, USC over at 60, I know it's a bad line. And what do? I hammer it. I bet it Sunday. I email Nick and any of my customers. I go, we're betting the over. Get it in now. It's 60. By game time, it's 66, 67, and they play a 44, 43 game. Right. Still play an 80-point game, but I got it in at 60, and in the teaser world, I got it in at 54. This is why I bet the over-unders as soon as I see it. It's the same thing. I'm buying $26, $27 ounces of silver that's worth $2,000. I can see it, and I'm buying it now before it goes up. That's all I'm doing. But I know it's going up because I know it's a bad line, like I know the college overs are bad lines. I knew the Georgia overs in the 50s with that defense was a bad line. There's no way that game's getting in the 50s with that defense. And the same thing with Van Dyke and Rising and those. You get those quarterbacks and they're playing. I bet the over because they got a good offense and no defense, and they're just gonna put up points and they can't stop it. It's gonna be high scoring games, and you're giving me a 47 over under, which makes no fucking sense. But that's basically the same thing happening here. This guy's an idiot. This guy can't understand why. So he's saying ignore the price. Well, what does Egon say? Egon doesn't even look at the price. This idiot's looking at the price. We look at it at the price and we just laugh and we say, time to buy more. They're keeping the price down for us. The difference is, had we been buying it since 1980 and we would have bought it. Well, in 1995, this was $2.50 an ounce. I've been buying it since 95. I would earn my $2.50 an ounce. So I buy 100 ounces for 25,000, and now the 100 ounces is worth 2,000. It's worth 2 million, but it hasn't even gone up yet. It's going to 50,000 once we get out of COMEX, right? Now we're agreeing with the idiot about bricks, but he doesn't get it. It's because China wants the real price of gold to go to the real price. Why they're even looking at the U.S. price, China and Russia, I have no idea. Again, they should have their own price, and that should be it. Why they're still paying attention to the U.S., that I don't understand. But this doesn't get it. He doesn't. Well, no, with the demand, the price should be higher. This isn't the real price. This is the derivative price. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I don't know. And I'll write it in the comments, although I didn't write it in the comments this time. I keep saying, why do you keep talking about paper gold? Let's talk physical gold. And he just repeatedly doesn't get that paper gold is fixed, like fixed football games that everybody tells me, do you think it's fixed? I know it's fixed, but in teaser world, we still win because you can't win by more than 7, but we don't care because we're laying 1 and they win by 3 and we win and we're happy. But yeah, but everything's fixed. Stock market's fixed. The whole world is fixed. If you're that naive, you got to wake up, but stocks are fixed, bonds are fixed, real estate's fixed, even the FX rates. If the dollar's stronger than the euro, why is the dollar 92 cents to the euro? Wouldn't the euro be $1.20 to the US? Why is the British pound 80 cents to the dollar if the dollar's stronger? I don't understand this. So it's really all bullshit, the currencies. So you got to realize when they're price fixed, it's not for you and me, it's for the people playing the game are the winners, and we're not unless you can get lucky. So as I said, I figured out gold and gold stocks. You buy after the 10 o'clock slide, and then you watch it start going up, then you buy it. And I win 99 times out of 100. I buy 1,000 shares. I buy 1,000 shares. I noticed the stock Newmont was in the 40s again. Buy 1,000 shares at 44. It's 44 grand. Goes up 70 cents because at 10 o'clock it did this. Now already starts going up. Go. And as it goes, okay, it's starting to level off. Sell. It could be 50 cents. It could be $1. Times 1,000, I make $500, $600, $700 a day. I get out and I wait for 10:30 the next day. It's the simplest thing you could. Only time you get burned is if it does a double dip where again, that happens. The worst, that's the worst thing that happens. Sometimes it goes up and then it starts doing this and then it goes back up. All right, I didn't make as much as I could have, but I still made. So that's usually the other thing that happens. But it's such a no-brainer because 10 o'clock, it always drops. 99 out of 100, there'll be 1 or 2 days it doesn't do the 10 o'clock drop. Fine. If it's going up and I buy it, it goes up anyway. So it's going up. But everything's fixed. So again, I don't get this Sheckman being so stupid to not understand that the price isn't real. You don't ignore the price. Like he's saying, no, it's not real. It's not the price. See, this is where I have arguments where these salesman guys, I'm the rare economist that can actually explain it in English. I've heard some economists that I don't know what the hell they're saying. They're mostly Keynesians. They're talking in gibberish, specifically so nobody understands because they don't understand. Because if you understand, you can explain it fairly good. So Let's listen to another minute or two of this idiot.
De-dollarize into this August meeting, which now our allies are requesting access to, where supposedly they're going to issue a new currency pegged to commodities. This is
Pegged to gold,
this is the
moron.
volatility before the storm. And, normally to say the calm before the storm, look at a big move generally in history, a big move in a market. It's usually precipitated by a great volatility leading up to it. And this volatility, which makes...
What the fuck is he talking about? Usually in history, there's volatility. He doesn't have a fucking clue. It depends what happens. Who the hell knows? Is that what happened in the crash of 1929? No, people were buying because they thought it would just keep going up. And then the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, which raised taxes, which lowered earnings, which caused inflation, and then it dropped. There was no big act. What the fuck's this guy talking about? This is a guy that doesn't know what he's talking about, but he wants you to believe he does because he's a salesman, and he thinks if he's passionate, you'll think he knows what he's talking about. He has no idea. He couldn't give you facts. He just said, well, this is what always happens. What the fuck you talking about? And it doesn't matter what happened before. It's what's happening now. The BRICS countries will come out with a gold-backed currency, not a commodity-based, a gold-backed currency. Call the spade the spade. It's gold-backed currency. That's what's coming up, which is going to jump gold prices. And every other country that, as they get out of dollars, they're going to need sound money, which is the only thing is gold. So as people are going bankrupt, they will need gold. All right. So let's see. One more minute of this idiot.
In the greater scheme of things, this price action, it makes no sense. In the greater scheme of things, to me, it makes sense to what the playbook that they've used for a very long time. And when you see the type of maneuvers that they're making by dumping 25 million ounces at the opening, I think it reeks of desperation. And to me, we're getting close to that moment. So one last thing I'd like to say, in the 3 years that I've been doing this with you, I don't know that there's been a better environment right now because of really there's been a little bit of apathy in the market right now, and it's slow in the entire precious metals space. It's slow, and I think price, premium, availability, it's as good as it's been since 2020. And so people who are looking to do what the biggest money in the world is doing, I don't know that there's been a better time to do it in the last 3 years.
What the fuck is this guy talking about? See, he doesn't know. And so he's trying to figure out what's happening. I tell you what's happening every fucking day we're out here. So what he doesn't understand is COMEX is keeping the price down. Everybody's buying at these low prices. And when it goes down like it did today, I go buy more. I mean, it's very simple. You're buying a $2,000 ounce for $28, $27. It's $22.60. It's the people getting out of the derivatives. That's what they're doing. They're settling their derivatives before they lose their ass. That's why they go down a little bit more. That's why they're going down, is people who have, when you do a derivative, you're betting the price will go down. So they make the price go down. So these people can make money on their contracts, and then off it goes. But it's not a free market price. It's not supply and demand like we talk about the Canadian Club or the ribs, right? The ribs, the guy puts them for 25, we buy it. The guy raises it to 40, we don't. Now, if everybody goes to if he's selling them for 10, if he's selling the cyber rooms for 10 and there's people out the door waiting to buy them, I'm going to raise my price. I got demand. And he raises it, and he finally gets to 25, and people are like, okay, I'll pay. And he's got demand, but not out the door. He knows that's about it. And it's very simple. The market sets the price. But in this case, you don't have a free market. He doesn't understand what a free market is. Why does he sell his gold and silver so cheap? Because that's the derivative price. So the guy's clueless. Again, if I had a silver and gold store, I'd be buying and I wouldn't be selling. And that wouldn't be my income is I sell the gold and silver to pay my rent. Then I wouldn't be in it. What if I don't sell anything? But I want to buy. So at this case, this is an exception to the rule. I know it's going up. People come in to sell. I'm putting it in my safe saying, thank you very much. I just bought it at spot. And they're fucking people over at spot. Well, they don't sell it at spot. Spot's not a real price. So that's why I would never sell at these low prices, but I'll buy at these low prices. And that's the thing. eBay, they don't know what they're doing. They see what the stores are. So everybody's just totally blindsided. They're all fucking idiots. They don't have a clue that this is not a real market, that this is fake, this is derivative. Again, JP Morgan keeps the price down because they print the dollars, and they know that they're fucking the dollars up by printing and printing. But there's two reasons. One, they don't want competition for this. They want you to keep buying it and stay in stocks and stay in bonds and stay in the bank because they make money that way. That's what they're trying to do. And they don't make gold because if you have gold, you don't need this and you're out of the radar. You're out of the system. That's what we want. We don't want to be in anybody's system. And then secondly, so they have a monopoly. They don't want competition. So they don't want anybody, they're the only ones who print the dollar. They don't want the dollar losing any more value, or nobody understands that it's losing value. So they don't want you buying gold and not buying the dollar. And the second thing is all the rich people like Warren Buffett and this JP Morgan and all these other clowns, Gates and these guys and all the government people have $1 billion, but if it's worth zero, surprise, you weren't smart enough to buy gold and silver, your $1 billion is worthless. So I can't wait till Warren Buffett wakes up and we're gone and his billion's worth zero and you could have had gold. He's so smart, he's a billionaire. All these billionaires are so fucking smart. And they don't have gold, and then it becomes worthless. So they're fighting to keep the $1 billion worth $1 billion. But with inflation, the $1 billion is really only worth $1 million anyway. They don't understand that. So they're losing money because of the inflation, which nobody understands except for us, that it's the printing of the money making it worthless. It's devaluing the currency. That's inflation, not the prices going up. Oh, the prices are going to go. Prices aren't going down. I mean, again, the prices is based on it. This is worth less and it's going to cost more money. Well, this isn't going away. Inflation's not going away. It's impossible unless you back it by gold. The price of this dollar is going to zero. Otherwise, why does Venezuela just go to zero? Why did Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Greece and Japan, and why is England and Germany's going? Why are they all going to zero? I mean, why don't they just lower their prices and have deflation and that'll raise their prices? I mean, you can't stop it. Once it's going, it's going. Now, people might, people don't, really don't get it. Everything it'll be like 1980 and we'll be fine. We'll just keep our money in the stock market. Like I tried to tell these idiots when I worked at Toyota to get your money out of the stock market. Oh no, it'll go down, but it'll go up. Not this time. It's going to go down. Look at Japan. Japan went down. It never came back. The U.S. stock market will never come back. But it's going to get roughed up, and really roughed up when the foreigners pull their money out, right? That's the key. Once they pull their $25 trillion out, as I've talked about, from Alligator, as Bobby so eloquently named Alistair, once that happens, then, you have a bunch of sales and no profits. So I've been listening to this guy, Soskin or something. He's a teacher for Princeton, a history teacher. He does a lot on Putin. He must be a communist. Who gives a fuck about Putin, right? and Stalin. No, it was Stalin. And so he says, oh, nobody can hurt America. Only we can hurt ourselves. Well, wake up, fella. That's exactly what's happening. You got the liberals doing all this, and they're trying to divide. The Chinese are trying to divide and conquer. Only we can hurt ourselves. Well, that's exactly what's happening. We're fighting amongst each other. It's the only way we can weaken. I don't agree with that. Look at the Romans. Did they fight? No, they inflated their currency. So I don't buy that. I buy it's all the countries that have done really are real strong have done Adam Smith. They've done Say's Law. They've had sound money and sound laws. And what happens is, I'll say, for lack of a better term, the dragons come in. So as you use Adam Smith and its free market and a lot of freedoms and the government's not involved, it's hands off, invisible hand, laissez-faire economics, the individual moves the market. It's all for us. It's all for the individual. It grows and grows and grows. It can't be stopped because it's human nature. We buy I want to buy a blue shirt, and the guy makes them, and he makes a lot of money, and I buy them. Then what happens is communism comes in, and that's what's happening to the U.S. It's happened to China. It happened to Rome, and in Rome they took all gold basically, right? So basic coins. That was the what do you call it? The reserve currency, which is just a fantasy. It's not real. There's no point in that. Currency isn't worth anything. Then nobody will take it. Market will cover all that, right? If the Swiss tried to have the reserve currency, if people bought it, they would trade in it. But to me, if I have U.S. money and I want to buy Swiss francs, well, I guess if I have Swiss francs and I want to buy euros, I shouldn't have to buy dollars to buy euros. I should be able, because there's a cost to buying dollars to buy the euros. It's bullshit. So the whole reserve currency thing is a nightmare. It doesn't make any sense. But real gold and silver are the reserve currencies. Because if I have gold, everybody trusts me, right? I don't trust rubles, and I don't trust yuan, and I certainly don't trust yen. That's the thing. But in Rome, everybody trusted the dollars, but then the deceivers came in, the crooks came in, the government became trustworthy and crooked, as happens to every country in the world. When they start getting real wealthy, here comes the dragon or the thieves, and they come in and they take all the money, and then the gold and the silver was out of the money. So the money had no gold or silver left in it. The politicians stole it all. The communist, or the whatever his name is, the idiot from Gladiator, they take all the money. You can see how crooked they are. They don't care about the people. They don't understand economics. They don't understand anything. If they did, if the Russians understood economics, they would not have communism. If China understand economics, they would not have communism. Now, according to the Soskin guy, he believes that you can't have communism and laissez-faire economics, because if you give people's choices, they're gonna take the free market every time. They would never choose communism. And he says that communism is a monopoly. That makes a little more sense. They want to have a monopoly, but you don't really want monopolies. It's a far better overall if you have competition. The monopolies only help the one person and hurt everybody else. So he's saying that, well, if the free market is there, the government, they won't agree with the government. They're like, this is fine. And then the communists want the control and they want the monopoly. So the whole thing about communism is the stupidest thing in the world. If you just let everybody be happy and do your business, and you can make and sell whatever you want, and make your money, it works. You'll be super strong. You'll have far more strength than if you try to do a dictatorship or communism like Russia and China do. It never works. It can't work because you take everybody out of the market. Oh, the government will sell red T-shirts, even though you don't want it. So that's the problem with it. Nobody really wants it, so it won't do it. Now I've taken some pictures, so I'm done with this idiot. So again, this is a salesman selling gold and silver, and he doesn't understand what he's doing. He doesn't understand why the price isn't going up. He sees the demand going up, but he doesn't see the price going up with it. Doesn't understand it's fixed. Doesn't understand it's derivative. Doesn't understand we need a physical market. This is a guy who people like, oh, Shackman, he's a good guy. He's smart. He's an idiot. All right, so I can't remember all this. I started taking pictures. So here's the first one. This is on like Microsoft. Homes for sale fall to record low in May as new little. Why are home sales falling? What would create that? Nobody wants to sell it because there's no buyers. The interest rates are forcing the buyers out. People don't sell because at this point they don't understand they need the money and they should take what they can get. But because the prices are down because of the interest rates, they're like, I don't want to sell for $300,000. I bought it for $500,000. But so homes for sale fall because they can't get their price and they don't realize they should be taking. China and Russia and the UK will be the ones selling as they get their 25 trillion out. They'll be dumping it from the banks, bank runs. They'll be doing all that. So all this is about to happen, and they're all going to jump into gold. So it really doesn't matter. JP Morgan can do what he wants. There's going to be such action into gold that he won't be able to keep the price down. And then they'll say, fuck you. Why are we using COMEX in the first place? Yeah, let's use this Russian or Chinese or BRICS, price, and they'll revalue gold because of the demand. So how homes for sale fall to record low as new listings tumble. So it basically means this is my own Canadian club. So I take it off the shelf because I can't sell it, right? That's what it's meaning. So if I can't sell it at $50, I don't want to sell it at $30. I'm going to take it off the shelf because I can't get what I want for it. So we'll keep it as simple as possible. So people can't get what they want for the house. I want 500, but I can't. And then with interest rates at 10%, I can't get. It's making the price too hard. I can't do it. And that's really what happens. So if I can't, let's say I have the Montana rookie and it's $100,000 and I want to sell it, but I can't get the $100,000 for it now. I think, I'll get it later. They don't realize they can't. So the houses is not going to go up in price because inflation's not going anywhere. Interest rates are going to go up, and they are not attached to the Fed. If the Fed were to lower the interest rates 0.5%, does not lower the mortgage rate or the rate for cars. It's totally independent. It's what they charge the banks, period. If the inflation is still there, you still have to have a high interest rate. That's why you have a high interest rate. You get your money back after inflation. So very simply, people can't get the price they want. Otherwise, they'd be selling them. They're holding on thinking, oh, the Fed paused. Now the Fed's going to start going down, means my interest rate will go down and I can sell it, which is false. The interest rates will go up because the Fed doesn't control what the free market and the lenders want to do. And if you haven't solved inflation, which they haven't, so that's bullshit that they're stopping because they think inflation went down to 4. That's a con game. That's a scam. It's not down to 4. Again, they're not including volatile goods. So you're going to pull 4%, probably 15 or 20. Okay. Next. Here's your Fed chairman, and he doesn't understand what inflation is. Powell sees housing inflation coming down sharply over the next 18 months. What does that mean? That's not English. That isn't reality. There's no such thing as housing inflation. If we use the term inflation properly with houses, that would mean there's too many. They've created too many houses, and therefore they've made 1 million houses. They can't sell them all, and the price of the houses will drop. All inflation means is you've printed too much, and the value is worth less. So it's overprinting, inflating. You're inflating the dollar by printing too much. So how the fuck is that got anything to do? Housing inflation coming down. That would imply you've made too many houses. But what this idiot's saying is, well, no, the price is the inflation, which it isn't. It's the price. It's the market. The inflation is this. You printed too much. You made this worth nothing. Housing inflation is not, it's not a real word. It's not real. That's not inflation. If the price of the house goes up, it's not inflation. The only inflation is this. This is the only thing you can inflate. You print too much, making it worth less. That's it. That's it. That's it. Because you need more of these to buy goods and services, the price goes up, but really it's that this has gone down in value. That's what Alligator keeps saying when he says gold doesn't really go up in value. It's the dollar losing value. So how the fuck is Powell sees housing inflation coming down over the next 18 months? Does that mean that the housing is, they're printing too many houses? They're making too many houses, hurting the value? No, that's not what it means. So he's talking about the price of houses. So call it what it is. Powell sees the costs or the selling price of houses coming down sharply over the next 18 months. Well, supply and demand. So the price is up here and the demand is, I don't know, wherever. Why? What would make the price come down if nobody's buying? So again, we go back to the Toyota. It's 30,000. The market's 25. Does the market go, so I got to lower the price to get to market. If we follow my logic, that would mean people are willing to spend X on the houses. The price is up here. People can't sell them. So the price has to come down to the market. Is that what he's talking about? I doubt it. I doubt he understands that. So he sees the prices coming down. And the only way is if the market, if people need to sell their house and nobody's buying. So maybe he's interpreting all the foreigners with their $25 trillion leaving as they sell their houses, they're going to take whatever they can get. They're not going to sit around waiting for 500 as the value of the dollar drops to zero. So as this goes to zero, people are going to dump their houses. Maybe he means that. I doubt it, but maybe that's what he means. I think he's looking at it in interest rate terms. Interest rates will go lower because inflation's fine, and therefore people, the price at 500 grand is not going down because of interest rates. So again, this another fucking idiot who has no idea what he's talking about. There is no such thing as housing inflation. It's the price and the cost of the house. So his selling price. So what he's saying is his selling price will come down, which it will if the market is unwilling to buy up there or they can't afford it. Oh, yes, of course, price will have to come down to market, but that's not inflation. That's getting to the market, which means you're selling these houses too expensively, which means the idiot in Canada who bought it for $700,000 we'll have to give it 500 because the market is not 700. But he's smarter than we are. So there's no such thing as housing inflation coming down sharply because all the foreigners are going to sell their houses and take whatever they can get. And it's not because of inflation. It's because the housing market going to crash because people will need money because the inflated dollar will go to zero. So when this goes to zero, oh shit, I had $1 million. Now it's worthless. My assets, my only asset I have, because they don't have gold and silver and probably not Rolexes, is to sell my house. So I'm going to dump my house on the market because I need money. I got to sell my asset to get money because my money's worthless. That's why that's why there's going to be a housing crash and a stock crash, because people are going to need money when their dollar goes to zero, which is going to happen 100%. It's happened every time you have currency not backed by gold. It goes to zero every time since the beginning of, let's at least go back to the Romans. So I'm sure the Romans sat there and people who own houses and everything we're fine until they took all the gold and silver out of the currency, which basically is inflated them, making it worthless. I got a million, whatever, I got $1 million Roman Empire dollars. No, you don't. They're not worth anything. So then they had their house, which they tried to sell. And so some German came with gold and silver. And guess what? With 1 ounce of gold, he bought this guy's house. That's, I'm sure, what happened in Rome. It happened in Germany. Same thing with 1 ounce of gold, because gold won't lose its value because people trust it. It's the only thing people trust. And JP Morgan is trying to say, oh, gold doesn't do anything. I wouldn't put my money in that. Put your money in the stock market because that's where we really rape you there, or put it in the bonds, or but don't buy gold with it. That's this whole scam that really pisses me off. Okay. Short bets. I'll let you read that one. Short bets. And again, I can't read it upside down. Short bets on U.S. stocks hit 1 trillion most since April 22. Well, what's a short bet? They hope they're betting the price of the stock market goes down. That's a short. I'm either long or I'm short. If I'm long, the price is going up. If I'm short, it's coming down. Short bets, meaning people wanting the price of the market to go down, hit $1 trillion. So there's $1 trillion bet. I don't know if we got that on Kansas City in the Super Bowl. There's $1 trillion bet that the stock market's going down. $1 trillion. Why is anybody shorting the market? It's the greatest thing in the world. Tesla is going to go to 1 million, and Apple and Amazon. Why would anybody short the stock market? Because all those stocks are not realistic. Tesla shouldn't have a value over 25. Who's buying a car now? High interest rates. He lowered his prices again from 50,000 to 29 to 19. He can't sell them at 19. Even if he sells them, I think he might have 600,000 units compared to the 16 million of gas cars. What's his price per unit? I mean, if he's got to pay the plant, the equipment, the people himself. He's got to pay all that if he sells 1 unit or 1 million. I'm sure in his calculations, he's trying to sell 1 million. He might produce 1 million. He ain't going to sell 1 million. And he's had to lower his price to 19. Well, wait a minute. At 50,000, you were probably making 30, 40%. You lowered it to 29. You're probably making, 10%. At 19, you're not making any money. And he's not selling it to Europe or the US. He's selling them to China. And by the way, China's electric market with government backing and gold backing sells their car GM and Tesla ever could. So China wants to conquer the electric car market, but again, there's no demand for it. So it's probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen. They'll go bankrupt trying to sell it, but again, they got 60,000 tons of gold. So when people say Chinese economy is hurting, they're not figuring in the gold price. Hey, wait a minute. I lost my job. I was out of work a few months, but I had a lot of gold and silver. So you can't look at me like that. You've got to look at the whole picture. So China's economy might be hurting, but they got a lot of gold. Now, my friend at the Chinese restaurant who runs it, he's the owner. He says the economy, everybody's poor there. He's from China. He's telling me, I don't know. He knows. Everybody's poor there. If you buy a house, they'll give you a pound of gold. Nobody wants a house because of after Evergrande fucked everybody over. Nobody wants a house. So it's a real poor country that nobody wants. And they got all this gold that they're waiting for the price to go up. So if you buy a house, they'll give you a pound. I'm ready to buy a house over there to get a pound of gold, to sell the house, to get a pound of gold. What, 16 ounces in a pound, I guess? So yeah, it'd be well worth it. Why is everybody shorting the market? Because of the inflation. Drives cost up, but as I've kind of pointed out a few times, again, now my cost for Canadian Club has now gone up to $60 a bottle, but the market won't let me sell it at 80. The market says I'll give you 54 because you know what? My costs have gone up, not my income. And so you can't sell this. Well, wait a minute. It costs me to, but I can't get the sale. I can't charge enough. I'm going to get hurt, which is what's happening. So I heard some idiots going, well, it's about employment and unemployment. And well, wages didn't go up as much as what a bunch of fucking idiots. This is all Keynesian, right? What the fuck are they talking about? Inflation, printing the money. If it's meaningless, because I got to pay my bills. Now I went to the butcher. I went to the grocery store today, my meat grocery store, and I wanted to buy rotisserie chicken because I didn't really have time to cook. And then I bought some other chicken breasts. It was $1. It was $2 a pound. So, price is going through the roof. And then I bought 3 pounds of hamburger. The 86% was on sale for $4.99. So I bought 3 pounds of that. And I looked at the steaks. Now I went last week and the steaks were all like $10.99. And I was like, oh, well, good price. Didn't buy any, but good price. Today they were all $12 and $13 a pound. Everything. My New Yorks, the Delmonico's, everything was T-bone, porterhouse, $13, $14 a pound. And I'm like, I'm expecting them all to be 20, but again, if they can't sell them, they have to lower their price. So my argument is always, you can only raise prices if the market will bear it, and the market won't bear it. The only things that the market has to bear are monopolies, which is gas for your car, the lights and the electricity, and so the heat and electricity you don't really have a say in, but they are regulated, and that's it. And your rent, but you have competition. You can't afford A, you can move to B. Might not be the better, a worse neighborhood, but you can find, you can certainly move somewhere else. But basically those are the gas, the electricity, and the heat and the air conditioning. You have no control. You can't substitute. And maybe you buy a fan, but that's electricity. The electric blanket shirt instead of putting the heat up. Okay. Maybe you buy Harley Davidson or a bicycle instead of a car, so you use less gas. So there are a little bit of competition. Here it would be hard to be. Maybe you could drive a motorcycle, or you couldn't drive a bicycle. Things are just not close. You can maybe drive a motorcycle if you don't get rain and cold. So you're pretty much buying a car here. So you'd have to look at that. But those are the few things, steaks. I don't need a steak. I buy chicken, or I haven't bought salmon in a while because it's $12 a pound for farm raised salmon. Fuck you. I'm not buying that. I don't need chicken. I take fish. I take my fish oil pills. Actually, these cod liver oil pills I take. So that's my fish. Salmon, farm raised salmon, you're not supposed to eat anyway. It's just full of poison. Tuna is not great because of the mercury. So, the fish is kind of out. A lot of it's polluted and mercury, and it's not really good. But okay, you can have a look. So it's a lot of chicken, which I don't know with the hormones. Farm raised chicken is probably not better than farm raised fish. And then you have the meat. So a lot of hamburger you can have instead of steak. Normally what I do is when the roasts are on sale, I buy and put them in the freezer. I got 6 or 7 in there. And then the steaks, normally when I see them on sale, I try to buy 5 or 6 of them, put them in the freezer. And then when they go up to $12, $13, I spent 5 or 6 on them. And now then I go to my freezer food. At the grocery store. That's what you have. I mean, the meat grocery store, everything's way too. Oh, I actually bought my Ken salad dressing. They had them on sale because for some reason when they put them on sale, when they charge $5 a bottle, and I can get them for $3.50 at the other grocery store, somehow I don't buy them there. But today I happened to be walking up by a display after I bought my hamburger and my chicken, and they were $2.50. It was two for $5. So I bought a Thousand Island and an Italian because I put Italian on my hamburgers and my steaks when I marinate them. I put the Italian dressing and all my other stuff. And I still haven't used salt for my omelet or my cooking. My feet have been fine. So maybe that's what the problem was. I had too much salt, so I'm trying to drain it all out of my system. We will see. Anyway, so short bets on the U.S. stock market hit $1 trillion. So that's your J.P. Morgans, that's your Bill Gates, that's your Buffets, that's all the people that are the government that are fixing the game are all fixing this and all saying it's going to go down, and there's $1 trillion bet on it. Now in football, everybody bets. Everybody took Michigan over TCU except for us. We had TCU as the dog. We won. In this situation, though, and the money was going on Michigan. In this situation, I wouldn't bet against the $1 trillion because it's all fixed. So in this case, guarantee you the stocks will drop. Probably it's going to happen in the next month or two because they haven't fixed the inflation because you really can't. How does interest rates? So I'm printing money. So explain to me, if I print money and the money is worthless, how does raising interest rates make this stronger? It only does when you're dealing in fantasy world of house inflation. So when you think inflation is prices and you make things cost more by raising the interest rate, which doesn't make things cost more, only things that you would credit cards, a house or a car. But if you're buying regular groceries and you're using cash, interest rates don't raise the price. or the heat, or anything that's just normal that you're not using your credit card for. Raising interest rates doesn't do anything. And if you have $10,000 on your credit card, all it does is make it more expensive. So they're hoping that you buy less. That's the goal of these morons. Well, if I raise interest rates, things will cost more, and therefore they'll stop spending, and then they'll have to lower their prices. Dude, you guys are fucking the stupidest guys I've ever seen in my life. Just because it depends what the market is. Like, am I going to stop buying ribs because it costs more? Well, ribs won't cost more. If the guy raises the ribs to $45, I'll stop spending. But if I'm raising interest rates, what does that got to do with me going to buy? I'll still buy ribs. The only thing that my costs have gone up is if I have a mortgage. Apparently, they're going to fuck everybody. So you're in a fixed mortgage at 3.5%. Apparently, this might just be in Britain. They're going to say, oh, you know what? We got to cancel that, and we got to renew it at 6% because the inflation's hitting, and we got to fuck you over because we'll lose money if you only have a 3% mortgage. I've never heard of that before. If I lock in a 30-year fixed at 3%, I got a 30-year at 3%. You can't change it to 6 because I was smart enough to lock it in at 3. When you have these inflation and everything, you lock in you do fixed, 30-year fixed. You do not do variable mortgage. You should never do a variable rate mortgage on your car or house because I guarantee you maybe a 1 year, let's say it's a 2-year variable, 30-year fixed mortgage. I guarantee you anything you want to bet that year 3, the variable rate goes up from 2. Let's say you're in at 2 for 2 years. I guarantee you it goes to 4 year 3, and then the 6 year 4, and then the 8 year 5, which is what happened in 2008. People couldn't afford it. They were bad credit risk. And of course, in variable rates, they are always 100% going to go up. They're never going down. You're in at 2%. Where are they going to go? So keep that in mind, but don't get into house inflation or wage inflation. What the fuck is that? I got a raise. That's inflation. How the fuck is it inflation? You don't even know what inflation is. That's not inflation. Anyway, just a bunch of morons. All right, next. So this goes back. Experts, here's why a housing market crash isn't happening. Now you're like, wait a minute, they're supposed to be crashing, and now here's somebody that says it's not happening. Well, one of them's right and one of them's wrong. How is a housing market crash not happening when the foreigners are going to pull out $25 trillion from the housing market, the auto market, the banks, and everything else? There's not that much demand. Interest rates are going up. How the fuck is a housing crash not happening? That means there has to be more buyers than sellers willing to pay a higher price. Who's the buyers? Who can afford 10%? Who's going to keep their job? Nobody's getting hired. The jobs are going to be far and few between. All the costs are going to go up because inflation did not go anywhere. It's still 15%. So it ain't 4%. Wasn't 4.9%. Well, we're not counting volatile goods. Oh, okay. So with the non-volatile goods, it's 4%. But how about with the volatile goods? That's another 10%. That's 14%. So this is why I kind of tell you, right? So here, these guys or here's why a housing market crash isn't happening would be like somebody saying, oh, yeah, gold's not going to go up. Silver, no, don't. It's not going to go up because the dollar is gonna get all better, and it won't lose its value. The only currency in the world not to lose its value. Okay, whatever. So this is why I'm saying you have to understand. If you understand, then you know to read through the bullshit and ignore the bullshit and ignore what the real stuff is. Experts, what experts? I'm an economist. How about that? Can we go with that? Here's why a housing market crash isn't happening. It's going to happen. I guarantee it. There's no way it's not happening. Because as costs go up, sales drop. That's a fact. That's an economics. That's statistics. So as interest rates go up because of inflation, people can't afford it. So therefore they don't buy. People who need to sell can't sell because there's no buyers, are going to dump their price to get down. So the market is gone from here to here, and here's where they're selling it at. And they're like, fuck it, I got to sell it. So if they're going to go down to the market, a housing market crash most certainly has to happen. Then you got the 25 trillion in foreign investment that wants to get out of the dollar. They're going to dump their houses and take whatever they can get for it. You can't get 500 grand. Give me what I can get. All right, we'll give you 400 grand. Okay, that's a market crash. The values are dropping, and as the values drop, people get emotional, get excited, they dump too. So so a crash is 100% happening. There's no way it can happen because interest rates are going, they're going to go up because of the inflation, the ones that control housing and autos and credit cards and stuff, not the Fed. The Fed doesn't control those interest rates, as I said. So we need to understand. And so to understand what an interest rate is, it's the cost of money. Why should I lend you money in an inflationary time? I'm going to get paid back in this crap. And because I'm going to get paid back in this crap, I got to charge you a higher interest rate. Therefore, it's going to cost you more to buy the house. So it has to be crashing because less people can afford to buy it. So as this goes to zero, now, if you don't think this is going to zero because in 1980 it didn't, it got hurt in 1980. They covered it up by printing and printing and printing. Guess what? They can't print. They print for Social Security. They print for everything else, right? They giving money to the Ukraine. Oh, we need to pay the budget deficit, or we need to send $1 trillion here and there and everywhere. Biden needs money. He's going to print money. Oh, JP Morgan, I need to print money because I want to buy more gold. It's all bullshit. It's all being printed. It's all being inflated. So just because the value of the dollar is dropping and the people selling the banks issuing loans are going to want a higher interest rate because they don't want to give you $200,000 and get back $100,000, 30 years later or whatever, because the inflation ate the value of their dollars. So if they're going to do that in the UK, you have a 3% 30-year fix, and they're going to say, sorry, you know what? We have to rip that up and we'll give it to you at 6%. That's because of inflation. That's what the real inflation is. It costs more. I need to charge you more to get the money I loaned you back. The one thing you don't want to do now in an inflationary period is lend out money. You want to be the borrower, but you don't want to be the lender because you're going to get paid back in dollars worth less. And the only way you survive this is gold and silver, as we've talked. But then when the people need the money and they're selling their house, you walk in with an ounce of gold. I trust that. I'll sell you my house for the gold because I know the gold's now worth 50, 60,000. It's not even worth that. It's worth a lot more because I don't know what the fuck the dollar's worth. So it'll be start gold will start being priced in gold. Now, this whole BRICS summit, all these countries, forget the amount of people, it's amount of dollars. And Russia, China got all the gold, and that's enough to make the gold go through and all the other countries going bankrupt because they're all inflating. And don't kid yourself, the U.S. is among all the countries who printed money, not backing it by gold. That's the key. So there'll definitely be a housing market crash, stock market crash, and you won't owe your credit cards because they won't have currency to pay it. Morgan Stanley expects the stock market to plunge. Others aren't sure. So Morgan Stanley sees the stock market. That's JP Morgan, let's not forget. And we just said there's $1 trillion in shorts that the stock market's going to crash. So you have $1 trillion shorting it, and now JP Morgan expects the stock market to plunge. Now they make commission going, oh, we expect it to plunge because then we can make sales and make commission. Okay, so they have a motive to selling it so people get scared. Okay, so let's say you sell your Amazon. What are you buying? What are you doing with your money? Leaving it in the bank? You think the bank runs are over? You think the bank collapses are over? I don't think so, because all these people were in it at 1% buying bonds, and the interest rate's still 5.5%. So it's just the timing of when they go broke. And banks, and bringing it back to England, Germany, Japan, Russia, wherever they have it, they're getting their money out of it. Right now, it's like the safe haven's the dollar, but this is the safe haven? Really? This is the safe haven? Okay. There's only one safe haven, and that's a 4-letter word called gold. That's your safe haven. That's where you should put your money. So when you do sell the house, what are you going to do with it? You should buy gold. As I told the idiot in Canada, you just sold a house for $500 that you bought for $250. You would be that stupid to put $400,000 into the next house and not in the gold. Let's see, gold can't go down, and it's about to go from 2,000 an ounce to 50. Your house is at best going to go from 700,000. Let's say it goes to $1 million. So you make 300,000. Let's say that happened, But let's live your fantasy. That'll go to 100,000. Or it goes to $1 million. So you made 300 grand. But if you had 400,000 in gold and it goes to 50,000 an ounce, you'd have made like $20 million. Which seems like the better? I have zero risk and a huge reward in gold, and I have a huge risk that the stock market will plunge, the housing market will plunge as the foreign investment pulls their money out of the U.S. currency before it collapses. And don't kid yourself. They're not idiots. If they're smart enough to put their money in the U.S., they're smart enough to know to take it out. Just like Saudi Arabia pulled their money from Credit Suisse. They were smart enough to do that. And people pulled their money out of Silicon Valley Bank. They were smart enough to get it out, which is why that collapsed. It's a bank run. There's going to be bank runs. But if you think for a minute you're going to put your money in a bank, you're out of your fucking mind. You'll never get it out, and it won't have any value when you do. What a stupid play that would be. Let's see the next one. Oh, wait. Boomers, the baby boomers, are selling homes ahead of the recession. So now we got older people who are looking to retire, selling their homes before they're worthless. So the only one who thinks that the home is going to go up in value is the Canadian. It explains a lot. So boomers selling their home ahead of the recession. So everybody knows there'll be a recession because of the inflation. So they're selling a home now before it goes down. So you hear that, Bobby? Look, they're selling it now before. And then Warren Buffett and these idiots are thinking, oh, well, once the houses go down, I'll buy it with my worthless money. Because I got $2 billion worth of wallpaper that I have. It's going to go to zero, but I'm Warren Buffett. Since I'm a billionaire, I must be smart. Doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know what inflation is, doesn't know what gold is. He's a billionaire, though. Okay, another idiot that we're talking about. So boomers are selling their homes ahead of recessions. See, I like this because then I don't forget everything and I can show you. So what are they doing? They're selling their assets. But we're not selling our gold and silver because it hasn't gone up. Houses have gone up, so they're making money. They bought it for $2, it's worth $4. Okay, I'll take my profit now and I'll go get an apartment or a rental or something like I'm doing, not because I'm poor, because I'm fucking intelligent. It really pisses me off when people judge you because you're an idiot. Why aren't I in the house? Because of this. I'm ahead of the curve. I make the Joker look like a joke. I'm ahead of the curve. I know what's going to happen. Not a guess, not an opinion. This is what is happening. I know what is happening, and I'm telling you what is happening. So you need to take advantage of what I'm telling you, and I'm showing these other morons house inflation. There's no such thing as, because prices are not inflation, they're prices. They're the market. So they're trying to sell their house in a market before the market. So what's really happening is I have a house. Here's the market. I'm going to sell my house here before this market drops. So before the ribs, people will pay 25. Before, people will only pay 10. And now I'm trying to sell them for 40. I'm going to try to sell my house up here before they go down to 10. That's all what this is talking about. It's all Say's law, and it's all supply demand economic, well, Austrian economics. So in other words, there's buyers, there's sellers. You're trying to sell to the best point of the buyer, and the buyer is determining if he wants to buy something or is there a substitute. I can buy, instead of salmon, I can buy chicken, I can buy meat. We're getting limited in what we can buy, especially on the diet I'm on. It's not like I can, but that's really what the point is these people are trying to, while the market's here, they're trying to get out and sell. But the market is going to, like the stock market's going to crash, the housing market's going to crash. So that means you won't have people to sell to. So in barbecue terms, you're selling your ribs and there's no customers. Nobody's coming in to buy your ribs because nobody can afford them. And you're trying to sell them at $27 and nobody can afford it. So what these morons are saying, well, you know what, if there's no buyers, he'll sell the ribs for $10 or he'll sell them for $5. No, he won't. He sells them for $25 because that's the market. If the market's gone, he needs to get out of business. He doesn't keep lowering his price because he's got to cover costs. He's factored in. It's our restaurant. I got to sell my ribs for $25 to make money. So at no point does he lower his costs to $10 because he can't make money. He goes out of business before he sells them for $10. This is this whole deflationary bullshit. Well, prices will go down. No, they won't. You'll get out of business before you do that. You won't. Tesla will have to shut down if he keeps lowering his price. Ford and GM are going to go out of business because they can't sell electric cars. China's going to sell them dirt cheap, but there's not a buyer for them. Who's buying a car in the middle of a recession with high interest rates? Who's buying cars? If you didn't buy the cars when the interest rates were zero, you're an idiot. I bought mine in 2018. I got 2-something percentage, 2.5, 2 3/4, fine. But I paid it off very quickly because I knew this was going to happen. So I was fine. I paid it off. The only thing I owe now is credit cards for trips and credit cards for the gold and silver I bought. So I'm fine with that. I probably won't end up paying it all off because it'll probably go to zero. because the dollar will be worthless. How am I going to pay my credit card off? I don't have dollars to do it. And that's what'll happen. What do we got here? All right, so let's talk retirement. If you're on the cusp of retirement and you fear a recession is on its way, what steps should you take to protect your finances? I think it's pretty obvious. You buy gold and silver. For millions of Americans in this situation, one simple answer is sell your home while you still can, causing a housing crash. You sell what? So you're retired. Your fear is there's a recession. So it means the stock market's crashing. The money's worthless. So you sell the only asset you can because you don't have any mantle cards. You don't have Rolexes. So you're going to sell your house to be able to retire. The plot thickens. You sell your home while you still can. Implying you won't be able to sell your home once the recession hits because there won't be any buyers. Okay. Because you won't have any buyers because all the foreign investment is sold and gone back to China and Germany and Europe and the UK because they're dumping their dollars. They're getting the fuck out. Those are your buyers. Goodbye, buyers. I got a house, but I don't have a customer. So I'm the rib place with no customers, so I can't sell it. But they won't tell you that. They're just kind of read between the lines. And you move into somewhere smaller or rent. So you sell your house to rent. So you're taking your money to rent. About 13% of baby boomers, or roughly 1 in 8, told posters they had recently done just that, downsizing their home to reduce their costs in the face of a risky recovery. Well, wait a minute. Why is the economy risky? Isn't this strong? Are you saying that this isn't going to survive, that the inflation is going to eat it up to go to zero? Is this what the read between the lines is to say? I'm telling you, it's exactly what they're saying. Risky economy. It's hard to fault the logic. The home prices surely can't last forever. Tell that to the Canadian guy. Census Bureau, the average sales price of a U.S. home is still a third higher than it was in late 2019 during the boom and just before the pandemic. The average 30-year mortgage back then was 3.7%. Today is 6.7%. That's your inflation, not the Fed. The mortgage companies need to sell it, need to get 6.7 in their interest rate to get, if they loan you $500,000, to cover the inflation. That's what that whole thing is in English, right? They're charging you 6.7 because they know the value of the dollar is dropping, only they're not charging enough. That interest rate should be 15 to 20% because 6.7 is still well below inflation. So they're still going to get crushed loaning you 6.7 when inflation's 15. So there's still a bunch of idiots. Logic says either the mortgage rate has to fall, a likely outcome is an economic downturn, or house prices will, or maybe both. Logic says the mortgage rate has to fall. A likely outcome is an economic downturn, obviously, or house price, both. While you might not want to try to time the housing market, you are on your own, won't have flexibility about timing. So they're saying is, if you're older, you got to sell it now. Rates for mortgages, that's the real tell inflation for your price. And then they'll go, oh, look, inflation's down. No, 3.7 to 6.7. And I wonder what 6.7 is. Is that a 30-year fix to somebody with an 800 credit score, or is that something else? So keep that in mind. Inflation is the lender, the bank lending you the money, needing to get back 6.7% to cover his transaction because he's lending you the money to make money on the deal. He's 4 or 5 or 6% too low. Another 0.5% in the 12 months to August 2023, down from 4.1 in March 2023. So down 0.6. The new government data shows as property experts warn that the housing market is a ticking time bomb. Well, it's a ticking time bomb in the UK also. Figures by the ONS show that the average UK house price was £286,000 in April, peak in September 22. So you can see houses went, got a price, went up, and then went back down further. I fear the property market and house price crash seems inevitable at this point. Million borrowers. Here's the juicy part. 1.4 million borrowers will see an end to their low fixed rates this year, and the impact will be devastating. The UK has been engulfed in a mortgage meltdown since the central bank decided to hike interest rates for 12 consecutive times in a row, prompting lenders to pull deals on fixed rate mortgages and raise the cost of the deals. How the fuck can you do that? I'm locked in at a fixed rate. You can't cancel it. The latest inflation figure is terrible news for us all, and sadly will start another mortgage rate crisis for at least the next month. Gary Bush, financial advisor at some place. We expect the Bank of England Policy Committee to increase the base rate at lunchtime tomorrow by at least 0.5, leading mortgage applications only very tricky ground. So the UK is about to fuck all their people by saying, you know what, that fixed rate, no, we got to cancel it and give you a new one. Unbelievable. Deutsche Bank says a recession is inevitable. That's Germany. The global housing market crash. This is why I did it. 27 companies. 27 companies laying off thousands of workers. These big companies recently announced job cuts of 1,000 employees or more. So 27 large companies, Amazon and all these investment companies. We only do that in a when the economy is slowing down, or what they call a recession. I just call the economy slowing down. I don't need to name it. The names don't make any sense and they're stupid. But so the economy is slowing, so you would naturally lay off people because you want to stay in business and you can't raise prices. So if I cannot raise Canadian Club from $50 to $80 and I want to stay in business, so I can't raise prices to cover costs, I cut my costs by laying off employees. That's what that's all about. So I lay off 1,000 people, which cuts my costs. So I can still sell my product because I don't want to go out of business. I've been in business for 500 years. I'm Canadian Club. That's the layoff. So initially you try to raise prices to cover costs, but you can't do it. You can't substitute your costs or get competition. So I can't get out of electricity and heat. I can't lower my rent. My interest rates have gone up on my money. So let's say most businesses don't have $1 million laying around, so they borrow it from the bank, but the cost of the borrowing goes up. So when you have a line of credit, if interest rates go up, so you're paying 3% on $1 million to cover payroll and electricity and everything. Now it's 6%. Your cost just went sky high. You're in trouble. Wait, can I raise the price of my product? No, you can't raise the price of the market set the price. You can't all of a sudden raise it, as I said, unless it's a monopoly price where there's no competition, no substitution, which is your gas for the car, which you could substitute for a motorcycle, and then your electric and your heat, which you can't really substitute because there's only one place to buy it from. Those are the only three things you can't substitute. You can, instead of getting steak, you buy hamburger. Instead of fish, you get chicken. That's how you substitute. Maybe you eat a little of tuna, but you've got to buy other goods. Or you eat a whole lot of fruit and vegetables or whatever. But that's, so if I'm a company and my borrowing costs went up, my utilities went up, I can't increase my price to cover my cost. I start laying off people as a way to cover my cost. And that's the bottom line, right? Gold prices fall. This is my favorite. Gold prices fall because of the strong dollar. U.S. housing data ahead of gold prices fall on strong data, and they want you to believe this shit. The dollar got strong. Oh, you mean against the euro? Oh, another inflated dollar. How the fuck did the U.S. dollar get strong? See, this is what they tell us why gold goes down, because if the dollar goes up, but the dollar is not getting stronger, it's only against other currencies. So because the dollar is stronger than the euro and the yen, well, let's dump gold, which nobody's doing, and the dollar's worth more. The dollar's not worth more. It's worth more against the euro, which it isn't, because I looked at the price of the euro and it was still 92 cents. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But that would not make gold prices fall. Gold prices fall because JP Morgan is doing derivatives. It's price fixed. It's paper gold. So this whole little scam is paper gold, they should call it. Derivative gold, paper gold prices have fallen because JP Morgan wrote a bunch of derivatives. That's what this should say, not it falls on strong dollar. Strong dollar's got nothing to do with it. It's all derivative trading. It's all paper. It's not physical. What the fuck are they talking about? Again, they're trying to scam you so you don't. First of all, they're trying to dollar are joined at the hip. So people like Mike Maloney and this other idiot I showed you think, well, that's why gold's down, because the dollar is stronger. That's fantasy. It's the whole thing's just fantasy. It's a joke. It's not real. Gold prices have nothing to do with the strength of the dollar, especially when the dollar is this got stronger. And how does an inflated dollar get stronger? When it's backed by gold, Batman. That's it. It can't get stronger. It can't get stronger. It can get stronger to other fiat inflated currencies because they're inflating their money worse, but the dollar is not stronger, and you do not sell your gold because of the dollar when gold's priced in paper derivative price fixed gold, not in physical. As we know, the demand's up here, so why would the gold go down? And gold's the only thing that's going to save you. So this is put out as a way to say, oh, I don't want to own gold. I want to be in the dollar, right? So this is the problem. Most people don't get it. That's why they don't own gold. They think, oh, the dollar's strong. I'll be fine in the bank, even though there's 4 or 5 bank failures and 20 more coming. I don't want that. And I'll put my money in the stock market. Look, Amazon goes up, or so they say. I'll buy a house because real estate does well, except for now when it crashes. You know what? The dollar's stronger, even though they're inflating it. That's why they call inflation prices, because they want to blame inflation on prices going up and down, not back to printing the dollar to zero. So if they told you the truth, which we know government never does, 9/11, Kennedy, going to the moon, we know that it's all bullshit. And that's the problem. So you want to be in gold and silver. That's why I show you. I bought gold and silver because it's the only place to go to save yourself, because anything to do with the dollar, Titanic, you're fucked. Gold prices falling strong. Oh my God. Then there's this one, which didn't really. Does raising interest rates really lower inflation? A little hard to read. I'll read it if I can read it. Some critics, the professor, particularly Democrats in Congress, say the Fed impact on the inflation is minimal, and so officials should halt the campaign now to avoid a recession. So, in other words, if they raise interest rates, there's going to be a recession, and the Democrats are scared of that. Everybody knows raising rates doesn't stop inflation. They say today price surges mostly have been caused by supply chain bottlenecks stemming from, I love this one, from the pandemic and Russia's war in Ukraine rather than excess customer demand. Why has supply chain got anything to fucking do with inflation? Okay, if the supply is short and the demand is strong and there's no competition, then the prices go up. Have nothing to do with inflation. I don't see a whole lot of things I can't get. And let's say I wanted to buy a phone and they didn't have it, I'd buy another phone. Or I want to buy a computer and I don't see it, I'll buy another computer. What do you got in stock? Supply chain bullshit. What in God's name is the supply chain of products that you want that you can't get? Oh, chips for cars, which nobody wants anyway? Come on. So the supply chain thing's growing rather slow, and let's blame Russia. They note the price increases already have been moderated as the supply snarls resolve, and so the Fed should stand down, because we all know price increases is inflation, right? Oh my God. All right, so some more bullshit there that, again, it's just, this is politics. Oh, well, wait, stop raising interest rates, the prices, because they know that raising interest rates causes a recession because it makes things more expensive. People don't make more money, can't buy as much, which slows the economy, is a recession, and they'll get blamed for it. It's got nothing to do with inflation, which is right. Interest rates don't, and neither does high prices. How do interest rates reduce inflation? When the Fed, I'll read this one to you. When the Fed raises its federal funds rate, which is what they raise to the banks, the rate banks charge each other for overnight loans, yes. The increase ripples across the economy, bumping up rates on more. That's not true. Credit cards, that's not true. Home equity lines of credit and auto loans, among other types of loans. The only thing I think it does is credit cards, because they're banks, because they're just got the bank charge. But it doesn't bump up mortgages and rates. They're caused by the inflation. As they said, 6% has got nothing to do with the Fed funds rate. It's the inflation rate. They need to get the dollars that are being inflated. That's the whole point. Why? If banks have to pay a little more in interest to borrow money, they need to charge their consumers more so they can maintain their profits. Well, that's not, it's what they pay on the savings rate. So you put your 100,000 in the bank and they give you 3%. You got to make 6% somehow. Now it could be on these bonds, or it could be what they loan out. I don't think it's what they loan out, because I don't think they loan out too much. I don't think they want to loan out in the inflation rates. Consumers, in turn, have to pay more to take out a mortgage, buy a car, and put purchases on a credit card Well, what if you use a debit card? At least in theory, they become less likely to make those big ticket purchases and go on shopping sprees. It depends on the person. Similarly, businesses that have to pay a higher rate when they issue corporate bonds are less inclined to build new factories, expand. Well, if costs go up, you can't spend more. Hello, McFly. The softer demand for products and services leads companies to raise their prices less dramatically or possibly even keep them unchanged. No, they lay off their workers because they can't raise prices because the market won't allow it unless they're a monopoly like gas or the utility companies. Keep them unchanged so they can win your business in a more competitive market that has more sellers chasing fewer buyers. That is not the law of supply and demand. The softer demand for products and services leads companies to raise their prices less dramatically, which means not raise their prices, or possibly even kept them unchanged so they can win your business. Win my business? Are they winning? Is it a win or lose? In a more competitive market, that doesn't affect the market. The market's the market. That has more sellers chasing fewer buyers. That's got nothing to do with anything. The law of supply and demand is I can choose what I want as long as you make it Austrian economics, Adam Smith. This does not work in communism and socialism because they set the price and that's it and you're fucked. So in a competitive capitalistic market, we can choose to buy milk from several different companies. How many doesn't matter. It could be 2, it could be 10. We're looking for the best price. So whoever sells it at the best price in a competitive marketplace is the law of supply and demand. And if we don't want it, we can substitute through the competition. To win my business in a more competitive market, why would it be more competitive? It's already very competitive. It has more sellers chasing fewer buyers. You don't have fewer buyers and you don't have more sellers. The fuck are these people? See, this is the problem. These people do not know what they're talking about, but people read this and think, oh, that's what's happening. And they're getting the wrong information. This is what I scream at you guys about is be careful who and what you read because it's bullshit. 99% of it, as I started with that Andy Scheckman guy, who doesn't know what the fuck is going on, doesn't understand there's a paper silver market and a physical silver market. He might know there's two, but he doesn't understand it. Doesn't understand the derivatives are keeping the price down. And it's got nothing to do with the action of supply and demand. You could buy 1 million gold bars tomorrow. It's not going to raise the price of nickel in a price fixed paper market. It will in a physical market. So if 1 million bottles of this were bought tomorrow, this price would go up because, demand's up. If the guy could sell his ribs at $45 and everybody were to buy it, then he could raise his price. If the demand goes up, you can raise your price. But if nobody's buying your $45 ribs, you're fucked. Let's see. Retirement planning. I'm not going to read it. And okay. So what is retirement planning? I've been meaning to talk to you about the retirement planning is supposedly you have income coming in when you're retired, right? You're not working anymore. Theoretically, you've got your money in stocks and bonds. Theoretically, you got some different stocks and you're making 5% on Coca-Cola every year, and you get part of it each quarter. And that's how you're supposed to live. What's wrong with that picture? Well, in normal times, 20 years ago, nothing. How about now? How about, first of all, the money you're getting is inflated. So you're getting a lot less, and it has to go a lot. you have less money chasing that you're going to need to spend more because your utilities and your food and everything and your vacations are going up. So that option's no longer available, but they won't tell you that. Your only option to retire is to buy gold and silver because it won't lose its value. Maybe you buy a Mantle card, maybe you buy a Rolex because those won't go down in value because those are assets. So really what you want to do is buy assets. Do you want to be in the stock market? Not if it's collapsing. So I bought Coca-Cola at $50 and I get a 5% dividend. The market crashes. Now Coke's worth $10 a share. But I'm getting a dividend. Yeah, but I just lost all my money that's in Coke. Then the market crashed, the dollar crashes. Now my money isn't worth anything. How the leaving my money in US dollars? I can't. But if I buy gold and silver, not only do I have zero risk of it going to zero like Coca-Cola in the stock market or Amazon or Microsoft or Tesla, pick a fucking company. When the market crashes, the value you just lost most of your money. Your house value is dropping and your dollar's dropping. Because of the inflation, this goes to fucking zero. How do you retire if this is zero? Are you insane? You cannot retire on this. So you have to get out of this. You can't go to the euro. You can't go to the Swiss franc. Your only option, gold and silver. So your retirement plan is all your money that you have and put it in gold and silver. Nobody can say it's worth zero. It can never go down because it's priced in dollars and dollars are going down. They can't go up. So that means they'll take more dollars to buy the gold and silver. So once we get out of COMEX into a real physical market, your investment will go up 100 times with no risk. The only possible, I don't know if to call it an investment that you can have. Let's call it an investment now, which it really is. You're investing, you're trading your dollar. As I said, you're trading this for gold and silver, but the fact it'll go up, it's kind of an investment, I guess. I don't know. What's an investment? You want to make money. Let's call it what it is. You put money in stock because you think it'll go up in value. That we'll call an investment. You're putting your money in gold and silver, A, to get out of money, B, because you think it'll go up. So we'll call that an investment, which is what it is. You're going to make a ton once it goes physical, which hopefully soon. Again, we don't know the trigger, and all we know is as all the gold's getting out of the COMEX is pretty much worthless, and the Russians and the Chinese are going to want the dollars in physical, and why even look at it in dollars? So once the dollar goes out, COMEX can't be used. How is it going to be used? So that'll get that out of the way. So that's what you're looking for, is the dollar having no value, which blows up your, let's buy stocks and bonds for retirement there. Life insurance. I don't need life insurance. I got gold. What do I need life insurance for? So that is how do you retire. The gold and silver, you just watch it go up in value. Nobody can ever do Attack on Wall Street to you, and watch your investment go to zero. Oh, excuse me. That's impossible to happen with gold and silver. If you want, put some in Switzerland and some here or wherever, but mine's with me. And the more gold you buy, the easier it is to carry, because you can put 10 ounces in your pocket and it doesn't weigh. Getting heavy, let's put it that way. It's probably how I hurt my back's pretty good. A little tingle in the pool, but that's okay. And then I was able to walk okay. My feet are fine, so no fever, no headaches, no sugar, no cigarettes. It's amazing how all that goes together. So that's your retirement strategy. So if you go to a financial planner and he tells you to go 60-40, get up and say, you're an idiot and walk out. But you don't even need to see a financial planner. You know what to do. You buy gold and silver. You trade you trade your worthless dollars into gold and silver. Now, if you have a house, unless you're Canadian and an idiot I've ever heard, why would you sell it for 5 and buy one for 7 and put 400 grand down? Why would anybody put the 400 in the gold and silver? Then you never have to worry about it. Do you think the housing market's never going to go down? Amazing. Oh, I don't think gold will go up. I'll play the idiot card. And BRICS wants their money back by gold, and the dollars are collapsing, and therefore the only out for all the dollars in the world is gold, which will be the reserve currency. That might make the price of gold go up, and it's happening very, very soon. And JP Morgan can lean on print his money and fuck around with derivatives all he wants. It won't matter because everything will be priced in gold, not dollars. You can buy a nice house with gold. You can buy a nice car with gold. You can retire with gold. And that's really what that's what we've stumbled into the perfect money, the perfect investment. How else can you get no risk with at least 1,000% return with no risk? And I'm not Bernie Madoff, and I'm not JP Morgan and Diamond and all these fucking idiots, or Buffett or Bill Gates or any of these clowns. I'm not any of those. We're not, because I'm not selling you anything. You're going and you're trading this for gold. You own the gold. I don't own it. I'm telling you exactly what's going to happen and what will happen and what is going to make you rich. You can see I do it. So it's a very simple formula. You can't lose. Even if you buy, if you can buy 10 ounces at 2,000, cost you 20 grand, the best 20 grand you ever spent in your life, times 50,000, 20 times 50,000 is $1 million. So with 20,000, you turn it into a millionaire. Or even better, with silver, you buy 20 ounces of silver at $27 an ounce, $540. Silver finally gets 10-1 to gold. You take the 20 ounces of silver, you buy 2 ounces of gold. Gold's now 30,000 an ounce. You've turned your $500 investment into $60,000. Not bad. We'll be the only ones buying gold when it hits 40, 50, 60,000 an ounce, because silver will be 10 times. So all the silver we bought will then be converted to gold, because nobody else is going to be able to afford $50,000 for gold until eventually the dollar is worthless. You gold. And that's how. So we're all set to win. Basically, I don't know what's going on. China's communists, they're all broke. The government can run a broke country. I don't understand that. How can communism work if there's no money and nobody can work because you're communist and you don't have free markets? That's why it blew up with Russia. And then they're trying this. This is a ship with Putin. Just a little bit of, I don't know, my girlfriend works at a store, first problem. That's why she wants to get the fuck out of there. I don't know why it won't be communism, but is that going to be free market? It needs to be, so they can build it up. I don't know. People have to rebuild the Ukraine. Is that why they did the war? So builders can rebuild it, but people don't have money to afford them. So if they think they're going to sell the house at 100 grand, there ain't no buyers. I mean, people do not have money there. There are not rich people except for the mafia. So I don't know what they're thinking. We'll see. But anyway, I think that's it. I'm tired. So figure me probably Wednesdays and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I think Friday I'll go to the pool first. I need that change of pace after working on early Friday afternoon, and then Saturday, Sunday mornings at 11:30, 12. And then today I start the pool first. I'm going to have a little dinner, even though it's late, because I was hungry, and we will go from there. Anyway, questions, comments? No comments tonight. Bobby, busy. And I know it's not usually I'm on at noon, so it's a little bit, but figure me at least on Wednesdays at this time. And then Friday mid-afternoon, and then Saturday, Sunday normal 11:30. So figure me that. Football, college, I have figured out. I've now filled in from empty to the games. Now I've went and I've said, oh, there's the teams. Here's the spread. That's kind of who I like. That's the defense. They're over defense. There's the under over. And then I put in the coaches. These are the teams with the new coaches. The best new coach is Luke Fickell by a mile, even though they think the guy from Rule from Temple, Baylor, Carolina is a good coach. I don't agree with that. He was okay at Temple, but Baylor, he was all right. Why he jumped to Carolina is beyond me. And now he's back at Nebraska. The fuck would you go to Nebraska for? Scott Frost was a much better coach than this guy, and he couldn't handle Nebraska because they can't get the players anymore. Plus the system. Maybe Tom Osborne could still win there with his little running option, but they can't. They got to contend with now the Big Ten, so you're contending with Michigan and Ohio State, and you're contending with Oklahoma and Texas and Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State. Good luck getting players at Nebraska. Because if I'm in the Big Ten, I'm going to Ohio State first and Michigan second. Just do not know what they're doing. You'd have been better off going back to Temple or, Baylor's full. See, you shouldn't be leaving in the first place. They leave for the money, which is the wrong thing to do. You don't leave for the money, you leave for the opportunity. If it's a good opportunity, it's like dating the girl. Let's go to the girl. So I'm dating a pretty girl, and there's a prettier girl. And do I leave my pretty girl who I like? We're very successful. We enjoy each other. We fit well for a prettier girl. I don't know if we're going to fit well or not. I'll go, break my girlfriend's heart and say, you know what? There's this girl who's prettier than you. I'm going to go to her. And the personality isn't any good. She's not as good for you and with you. And you end up breaking up with her anyway because she's not your type. And that's the problem. And really, you have the opportunity with the girl to get to know their personality before you would break up with your other girlfriend. But that's basically what it is. So Scott Frost at UCF's got a nice girl. She's not Alabama, but she's nice. She's UCF. Good opportunity. Everything's good. Good chemistry. Michigan and Iowa and Wisconsin. Oh, didn't realize that. And you can't win 5 games and your team sucks and your quarterback sucks. Oops, you left the perfect girl for this crap. Well, pretty. She's Nebraska. She's the Big Ten, but you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And then you end up failing. And now you cry and you're like, well, I wish I could go back to UCF. And that's what this rule did. He had a good thing at Temple. They were successful. The guy at Rutgers did the same thing. He runs to the pros. Oops. We got an Urban Meyer. It's like every week's Alabama. Well, what does you think? This is the pros, you fucking idiot. Matt Rule, what is he going to Carolina for? What does he think he's going to do there? It ain't Temple. It ain't Baylor. What are you doing? So these coaches that are successful in the pros are Jimmy Johnson and 2 or 3 others. Otherwise, Coach Pete, because they are okay with they create the environment. They're the creator. They don't care what the girl says. This is how we're going to live, and we're going to enjoy ourselves, and that's what they do. Sort of like the professor. That's what I do. My girls always have a good time with me. I treat them nice with love and respect, and that's why it works. But I don't hurt them. I don't leave them for another one. I just have 2 or 3 of them. That way I don't hurt them. And then if I really want to go exclusively with one, I can do it. But this way I don't hurt. So it's like me coaching at 3 schools at the same time. Well, I'm going to coach the Lions, but I'm also going to coach Michigan. I'm going to coach both. I'm going to coach both teams at the same time. That's about what I'm doing, but I don't want to hurt any of them. They're nice people because I wouldn't be with them if they weren't nice. And I help them and I don't hurt them. The problem is when they hurt me, like a Carmen who's not nice. I tell her to go, you don't benefit me. It doesn't have a nice togetherness like the other girls. We care for each other, right? It works out. Everything works. We have a good time. Not with Carmen. So fuck off, Carmen, because I'm nice to you. You take advantage. You buy $20 drinks because I'm nice to you and I'll pay for dinner. Why aren't you paying for dinner once in a while? I mean, that's the problem. So that's the type that you get away from are the ones that take advantage of you. And it's not competitive, and it's not cohesive, or both parties benefit. We have a good time together because we're not trying to take advantage or use each other. And, we just want to have fun together and everything be good together. So that's what the other girls are, but Carmen wasn't like that. We fought so much, mostly because I'd tell her to go fuck off. What are you doing with a $20 drink? Go buy a $5 drink because you're fucking my budget up. When I'm budgeting a $60 dinner, you get 3 $20 drinks. It's $120 for dinner. That's not okay. I'm not agreeing to that, because when we got to go to Universal Studios and it's $300, or we go to the Bellagio to see the O show and it's $300, that's what I'm penciling in the money. I don't have this drinks. Now, if he's got $5 drinks, $7, $8 drinks, yeah, you can have 3 of those. The 20 hurt me, but $60, and you don't care. That's not what I want. So that's the high rent girl that's pretty, but you don't get along with it. But the other girls aren't doing that. Jenna never does that. She'll get drinks, but she never gets $20 drinks. I pay for the cab. I pay for the dinner. So she can't really bitch. We go where she wants. I pay. She's okay. It's pretty good. So that's what I mean. So you don't necessarily move up and leave something unless the grass is greener. Now, you could get the real pretty girl who everything's fine and you really love her. That might be, you really are in love with this one, so you might have to leave the other 2 because she doesn't want to share you. Oh, well, that's a different story. But otherwise, these coaches that move are just fucking ridiculous. They don't get it. Oh, you get money. Money doesn't buy you the happiness. I've switched jobs for more money and been very happy and quit them because it's not, I don't know what the fuck they want me to do. Very bad environment. Look at Toyota. Worst environment. The Japs are a bunch of control freaks. I don't want to work for them. I'll never work for them again. I'll tell everybody here, don't work for the Japanese. They're control freaks. They think the fucking war's still going on. They're cheap and they're controlling and they touch you. They're very rude. Go back to Japan if you want to act, if you think we're Japanese. We're not Japanese, we're Americans. So that's the point. You don't do things for money. The money can be there if everything else is there. Good environment, good boss, good girl, you get along, very nice. Okay. That's the key to it, not this bullshit. Anyway, with that, I'm going to eat, put on a movie. Well, I still got a little bit of sunshine. I can maybe a little bit too late to go to the lake. The pool closes, like I said, at 8:00. I don't know why. They're blaming it on lifeguards, but there was 6 lifeguards there yesterday. I couldn't stay till 9:30. I mean, it used to be open till 9:30. The club still open till 10, apparently. So I could go to ride the bike, but if I can't hot tub, I could go ride the bike and shower, I guess. I don't know. But I don't, without the hot tub, it just doesn't seem the same. So we got to go. Like I told them, I wish you would have told me because I got on the bike yesterday and I was on it for like 20 minutes. I said I would have went to the pool first because the bike was still open at o'clock, even though the pool closed at 8. So I would have gotten on the bike after. So I could go for the bike now, but I'm kind of tired, so I don't think I will. But I might go walk. Well, I've been outside at the pool, so I got my vitamin. All right, everybody. Well, have a wonderful night. Again, I'm trying to teach you. This is a class. I'm giving you stuff that maybe 10 people in the world know and understand. Me, Alistair, Egon, the rest get it, the Peter Schiffs and the right car. The marketplace is what they miss. The supply and demand is what's called the marketplace. As okay, I can afford it or not. You can't just raise price because your costs go up. You can't just raise prices. Costs going up is not an inflation, the devaluation of the dollar because you print too much of it. And there's no way you can stop it because they're not stopping printing. They might slow it, but there's no stopping. There's no such thing as velocity. That's a Keynesian term. It doesn't matter how much they printed more money in it's still only worth $50. If I sell it or not, it's still worth $50 because they printed too much of it. So that's what you have to realize. Anyway, go have a good night. I will talk to you Friday. And getting a little bit used to this 9-hour day, Monday through Thursday, 4-hour Friday. So Friday I look forward to. Monday through Thursday, it's not bad. It's just getting used to it. And I got to get out. It's too long to just sit at the computer. Like today I ran to the grocery store. I got to do more of that. Getting out and getting some sun, even for a half hour. It's just I just can't do it for 9 hours straight, even though that's what I kind of want to do. So anyway, have a wonderful day. Good luck. Gave you some base today when I'm in a football mood, and just watch the housing meaningless. Now it's political. They don't want to cause a recession with an election coming up. During their term, there was a recession. Well, during their term, there's inflation, but it has nothing to do with interest rates. They printed too much fucking money. And so just understand the whole world has done it. They're all going to need gold, and there's not enough gold. So once people realize and people want gold, Katie bar the door, as Keith Jackson would say, the price of gold is going to go to the moon. So don't worry about COMEX. Just get as much gold as you can. Get as much silver as you can, especially at these prices. And people are stupid enough to use the derivative price to price the real physical is Physical is, let's say gold's 20,000. The paper price is 1950. So let's sell it for 2,050. But the physical price is 20 or 30,000. It shows you that the whole market's out of their fucking minds. They don't understand it. We understand it. I understand it. So you can't lose. You have no risk. You cannot tell me any other investment. Stocks, bonds are very risky because of the inflation. See, everything's risky because of the inflation. If it's priced in dollars and the dollars goes to zero, stocks go to zero, bonds go to zero, money in the bank goes to zero. The only thing that doesn't go to zero is things that aren't involved with money, which is Mantle cards, Rolexes, and things like that, Picassos, and more importantly, gold and silver. See, those are always going to keep their value because they're not related to the dollar. Gold doesn't need to be priced in dollars. The Mantle card will still have the value. It'll just then go be priced in gold and silver. Gold and silver will be back in Roman times, will eventually be the money, but they'll come out with new currency. You cannot have no currency, right? You've got to replace this, and then you'll sell your gold for the new currency, but not all of it, just a little piece here and there. For a house, for a car, for food. Food's the silver, but you're not going to barter. There's not going to be barter. God, these people, there'll be barter. There's not going to be barter. The fuck? You can barter now. I want a Mercedes. There's an ounce of gold. I'll get a Mercedes. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bobby, take care. I can't play the rock. I don't want to get blocked, so we'll have to figure out something. All right. Have a great night. www.teaserking.com. College football, we're pretty much on our way. Pro football, we've gone over. I actually, for pros, I wrote the coaches down and I graded them. And there's like 4 A coaches and the rest are Z's or E's. We'll call it A, B, C, D, E. And most of the coaches are E's. And most of the new coaches are a bunch of dumbasses. So it's Sean Payton and it's Coach P and then Andy Reid. And, it's Andy Reid's not a coach. He's a horrible coach. He gets you to the playoffs and loses the playoffs, except for with Mahomes. Look what he did with McNabb. 5 times, 5 losses. So he's not a good coach. He just fell into Mahomes is all. Like Belichick with Brady. All right, everybody. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Enjoy your night.